All right, today we're jumping into the brilliant and, let's be honest, sometimes baffling world of the novelist John Fowles. Now, this is an author who didn't just write stories, oh no. He built these intricate philosophical games right into the pages of his books, and he basically invited you, the reader, to come and play along.
So let me start by asking you this, just to get you in the Fowles mindset. What if a novel just refused to give you a single tidy ending? Or what if the author flat out admitted, halfway through the book, that they were just making it all up? This is exactly the kind of rule-breaking that made John Fowles a total legend.
Fowles' signature move, really, was to challenge the whole idea of a traditional story. He loved to shatter that fourth wall, that invisible barrier between the world of the story and you, the reader. He makes you an active participant, and sometimes you even feel like you're in on the trick with him.
You see this perfectly in his most famous novel, The French Lieutenant's Woman. So Fowles sets the story in Victorian England, right? A time with all these super strict rules and social codes. But then he injects this completely modern, self-aware narrator into it. It's this amazing clash of styles that tells you right from the get-go, this is not your grandma's historical novel.
Now, this little game he's playing actually has a name. It's called metafiction, and all it really means is that it's a story that knows it's a story. Fowles isn't just telling you about his characters. He's constantly winking at you, reminding you that they are characters, that he's the one pulling the strings, and that this whole world is just a construction. It's such a bold and fascinating thing to do.
And the ways he does it are just incredible. I mean, he'll literally stop the entire plot just to talk to you, the reader. He'll comment on what a character might be thinking or why he made a certain choice. At one point, the narrator even shows up as a character in the book, just watching his own creations. And of course, the most famous part of The French Lieutenant's Woman is that he offers you multiple endings and basically tells you to pick one. It completely forces you to think about free will, not just for the people in the book, but for you too.
But okay, Fowles wasn't just playing these clever narrative games. He was also an absolute master of dark psychology. His first novel, The Collector, is this really chilling exploration of obsession, power, and what happens when one person tries to completely control another.
Yeah, his 1963 novel, The Collector, man, it's a psychological thriller that feels so modern and is still genuinely disturbing. The premise is terrifyingly simple. A lonely, kind of creepy guy wins the lottery and uses the money to kidnap a young art student he's obsessed with. And not for ransom or anything like that, but just to have her, to possess her, like one of the butterflies in his collection.
And what makes the novel so powerful and so unsettling is its structure. It's told in two halves. First, we get the whole story from the kidnapper's point of view, trapping us inside his twisted logic. But then, the perspective completely flips. We get to read the secret diary of his captive, Miranda, as she desperately fights for her freedom and her sanity. It's a brilliant move that just throws you into this moral gray area, forcing you to see this horrific event from both sides.
So, if The Collector was a deep dive into psychological control, Fowles' next novel, The Magus, took that idea and just blew it up on a massive scale. This is where he really starts blurring the lines between what's real, what's an illusion, and what's all part of some grand manipulative game.
The setup sounds like paradise, right? A young English teacher, Nicholas Earth, gets a job on this beautiful, remote Greek island. While he's there, he meets this mysterious and incredibly wealthy man, Maurice Conscious, who lives on a lavish estate. But you guessed it, this paradise very quickly turns into a psychological labyrinth.
Conscious starts putting Nicholas through something he calls a God game, and it unfolds in these very distinct stages. First, there's the lure. Nicholas is just drawn in by pure curiosity. Then comes the manipulation, a whole series of bizarre theatrical experiments designed to totally break down his sense of reality. And it all builds to this final confrontation, where he's forced to question everything he thought he knew about himself, about morality, about, well, existence itself. The whole book is really asking, can we ever be sure what's real?
Okay, so let's pull all this together. A creator of multiple endings, a master of the psychological thriller, a philosophical gamesman. When you put it all in one place, you can really see why John Fowles had such a massive, lasting impact on literature.
His legacy really comes down to a few key things. He pushed us all to wrestle with these huge existential questions. Free will, identity, the search for meaning. He completely upended traditional storytelling. He wasn't afraid to dive into the really dark corners of human desire and control. And maybe the most important thing, he proved that a novel could be incredibly philosophical and complex while also being a story that you literally cannot put down.
And that leaves us with one last question, one that I think Fowles himself would have really enjoyed. If your life is a story, with all of its own weird twists and unexpected chapters, who's really holding the pen? Are you the character? Or are you the author?